We need to understand, my dear brothers and sisters, what this holiday is all about. Actually, it is not a holiday. All Hallow Eves, Halloween or Hallow Eve, is not a liturgical feast on a Catholic calendar, but the celebration has deep tie in the liturgical year. The 3 consecutive days, Halloween, All Saints' Day, and All Souls' Day, illustrate the communion of saints. We, the church militant, those on earth, strive to get to heaven. Pray for the church suffering, those souls in purgatory, especially on All Souls' Day, on the month of November. We rejoice and honor the church triumphant, the saints, canonized and uncanonized in heaven. We also ask the saints' intercession for us. So we need to know that this holiday, it became kind of a more, shall I say, business-like. Of course, you see these little kids, all candy, they dress all these costumes. But it has nothing to do with the church. It has nothing to do with anything else. It's strictly secular. And they took that and make a big business out of it. So again, the church today, only it is the vigil of All Saints for tomorrow. See, November 1st was dedicated by the Pope in the year, I believe, 15 or 1700, and made it a day of holy obligation to honor all these beautiful saints, which is every one of us has a special saint. You probably like this one, like that one, and they're all also in heaven interceding and praying for us. This is our Catholic faith. So again, today, many Catholic churches don't do much. Others have, baby gatherings, small gathering. However, I read an article that says, if the kids wear today the saint's costume, St. Teresa, St. Anthony, or whatever your favorite saint, St. Francis, and come to church, maybe something to be honoring the saint. However, it's not all about. It is not about in rejoicing. It is more about preparing ourselves to honor these men and women, to give their life for their faith. In this gospel today, it's amazing the way Jesus says, Luke wrote, and what Jesus had said, that too many people will strive to enter to the narrow gate. For many, I tell you, will attempt to enter, but will not be strong enough. What do you mean by that? Knowing that to deserve heaven, knowing to follow Christ is a challenging route. It is not easy, and people are going to give up. I say it's too much for me because I have so much to do. I have so much. And so again, our lifestyle sometimes, when we get to a certain point in our life, especially financially, or especially sometimes with status quo, we put this almost kind of a priority in our life. Well, I have so much to do. I don't have time for this. I can't go to church because I have a business meeting. And before you know it, it becomes so hard for them to deserve heaven and strive to enter through the narrow gate. It is very narrow to follow Christ. It's a suffering road. It's a road full of rocks. It's full of holes. But the end of the road is heaven. The end of the road is something that we all strive for. But nobody wants to walk on this challenging day, isn't it? Well, we want the cake and eat that too, right? We want to have a good life, good everything, a lot of money, festivities, everything nice, and then go to heaven also. Well, my dear brothers, in this case, then Jesus Christ had not to suffer on the cross then. What do you need to suffer the cross for? If we think we are immune to any bad things or any conflict. That's what it's all about. That we deserve heaven is sacrifice. To love is sacrifice. To give is sacrifice. To understand others is sacrifice. To turn the other cheek is sacrifice and humiliation. So again, when we ponder on our faith, we need to remind us every day who we are, where we're going to go. And the gospel today tells us. And even we're going to tell we eat and drink in your company, and you taught on our street, then he will say, I do not know you, where you're coming from. Because you can say, well, I have so much money, I give to the poor, and I did so much of my life, so I don't know you because you didn't do anything that really I command you to do. It's love. You can give everything you have. If you don't have love, you've done nothing. If you cannot forgive others, you've done nothing. You can do anything. You can give up all you have and live under the bridge. If you don't have love, you've done nothing. So, my dear brothers and sisters, it is always a challenge to follow Christ. But what choice do we have, if we want to see Christ? If we believe in heaven, if we believe in paradise, like these saints we're going to honor tomorrow, they believe there is heaven. All these saints, they give their life. And some of them even got murdered, decapitated, hung, burned, cut in pieces, thrown a river. You name it, what they done to stand up to their faith should be an example to us in this gospel today, the way they live their life and the way they believe there is heaven with God. They do that. And I hope so we should believe. If we do believe there is heaven, then we should work for heaven. And it's not easy to work for heaven, isn't it? That's to strip ourselves and change ourselves completely, that we can say, Lord, here I am. He said, job well done. Come in. Think about it. Think about it. What is to be a Catholic? Think about what is to be a Christian. Remind every day, people say, well, tell me something else. I said, there's nothing else to tell you. Because you think you're a Christian, you're Catholic, you receive Christ. Isn't it? My dear brothers and sisters, today, as Halloween, not in, Hallow Eve, okay? We need to understand that word. It is the vigil of tomorrow. When we read the first reading, children, obey your parent in the Lord, for this is right. Honor your father and your mother. Yesterday was about husband and wife. Wife, love your husband. Husband, love your wife. It was a challenging homily. People that sometimes don't like to hear because they don't understand what they mean. Today, simpler. It is much simpler as your mom and dad, our parent. When they come in to love others, what yesterday's gospel was is this: to love your wife, wife love your husband. And when they say love, be obedient to a husband, it was not the husband obedient to the church, obedient to God. Remember, marriage is a covenant, not a contract. Remember that. Marriage is not a contract. It's a covenant. Love is a covenant. When a man and a woman get together, they give themselves to each other. Unconditional, not conditional. A contract is written contract. It is like a, there's a name for it. So again, today is about mom and dad. That this is the first command with the promise that it may go well with you and that you may have a long life on earth. You know, on this beautiful first reading of St. Paul to Ephesians, remind me how many children, how many adults, or how many people, put it this way, really honor their mother and father to the end of their days. I know many people, they give their life to their mom. I know many people, they don't go out, they suffer, they sacrifice just to cater to their mom. They don't even put their mom in a nursing home. They keep them home. That's obeying God's command. Honor your father and mother. Obey your mom and dad. Obey and do whatever needs to be done to keep them happy. It's our duty to make our mom and dad happy. Sad to say today, sometimes doesn't work that way. You work very hard for your children. They graduate from college, leave home, and say, goodbye, mom and dad. I don't need you anymore, isn't it? But again, a sacrifice, isn't it? So again, my dear brothers and sisters, today, when we receive the Holy Eucharist, let us ponder who we are, where we would like to go, and most of all, to receive the Holy Eucharist is to think about tonight and what we're doing tonight and what's all about. Amen.